What is up, guys? Welcome back to Liftaholics TV. Today, I'm going to show you a workout that you can put in the back of your push day, your chest day, shoulder day, whatever day that you hit triceps. You can just add this right onto the back of your workout to make sure that you're growing and developing the size of your triceps. If you want to get that look in your tank, bigger arms, you want to fill in your hoodie sleeves a lot more, do not skip the simple movements that'll help you develop and work your triceps. Stay tuned. So if you're on a push-pull legs split, or if you're on a one body part per day split, muscle building split, bro split, whatever you want to call it, then you still have to work your arms. It's bicep and tricep if you want to see development in it. So it's really easy to skip those things, especially on a push-pull legs or a one body part or day split where you're just trying to focus in on that one muscle group. So you can take this workout with you. Gonna keep it short, 3-4 exercises that you can either add. You can take 2 of these exercises and do them, on your push day, your day 1 push day for the week, or you can take it and do it for your day 2 push day for the week. So we're just gonna run through it really nice. I'm gonna give you some cues that you guys need to maximize each exercise so you're not wasting your time in the gym. So first we're gonna start off with a couple sets of close grip. So the only difference between a close grip bench and a regular bench is your hand position. When you're doing a bench press, you're using a bench to grow your chest. You're using a heavier load to do that, heavier than you would with the dumbbells, heavier than you would with the cables. So we're gonna take those same principles and apply them to our triceps. So we're gonna do this exercise first so we don't burn out our triceps, and we can try and hit the lift. We can try and lift a little bit heavier load than we would if we added the close grip at the end of the workout. So we're gonna start off here and make sure we got a nice hand position and a good weight. We're gonna do about 3 or 4 sets. So most of those sets, I wanna make sure I'm getting a good volume in there, somewhere between 10 and 15 reps. And for, my last set, maybe I don't mind doing a set of somewhere between 6 to 8 reps with a heavier weight. That's just because I want to feel that heavier weight. I want to try and shock and confuse the muscle group a little bit more than I would if I was just doing, another 15 reps. All right, so we're gonna start off here, and then we're gonna move on to the cable section after we do the close. My warm-up sets should look almost identical to my working sets. So it's kind of like a comparison in sports. Like, I'm not gonna practice in a way that I'm not gonna play in the game. So if I'm practicing not at full speed, if I'm halfway doing movements, if I'm not trying to get the most out of something, then that's not gonna translate to the game when we get there. So when I'm doing my warm-up sets, I'm still trying to work on all of those cues that I'm gonna use when I'm doing my working sets. My tempo, a slight pause at the bottom, making sure that I'm pressing all the way to the top using a full range of motion. So I'm not putting those things into practice during my warm-up set. Before I get to my working sets, then I'm not gonna perform it well when I get to my working sets when I'm doing it with heavier weight. So I gotta make sure my warm-up sets, I'm taking them really, really seriously. They're setting the tone for the entire set, and sometimes the entire day. So if I'm not taking those seriously, then my working sets, I can't be upset or have a high expectation for what my working sets are going to be if I didn't warm up properly. General rule of thumb, whenever you're benching and close gripping, always use a weight that you can bench. Don't use a weight that, someone's gonna have to run over to try and save you when you're doing it by yourself. If you're lifting at home, you gotta roll the barbell over your body or dip the weights down and have them hit the wall, put a hole in the drywall. Just use a weight that you can lift. You'll always get more benefit of using good tempo, using a full range of motion than you will going up in weight. With that being said, I might even just stay at the 2 plates for, what we're doing today. So only got around 6 that set. So what that says to myself is a little bit more fatigued than you would be, maybe a little bit more sore than you were last time you close grip. So you're gonna go down in weight and up the volume. There's nothing wrong with doing that, especially when you're trying to develop a muscle group. I'm not lifting for a strength competition, power competition, trying to see how much weight I can get. I'm trying to get a good amount of volume, just topped off with a little bit of heavier weight, nothing extreme. So one thing I've been doing recently too is right before I leave a station, I'll try and get 15 to 20 reps after I've already done all my working sets, especially for the bench where I'm doing a little bit heavier stuff. Like the first set I got 10, second one I got 10, then 8, then 6, and then I got more with the 205. So with this one before I leave, I'm gonna try and rep out, try and get 20. That's the goal. A lot of times I only get like 15. But basically what I'm doing, I'm just pre-exhausting that muscle group. So whenever I go for that last set, I can really just put a lot of tension on that muscle group and try and burn it out before we go on to the next station. All right, so second thing we're gonna do, just use the bench, using both hands, using a heavier load. So now we wanna isolate each arm and work each tricep muscle individually so that it gets its own time, its own tension, its own care. We just wanna make sure that we're hitting each side of the body, each tricep the same way. So to do that, we're gonna come to the cable machine and we're gonna pick a nice light weight, especially if you've never done this exercise before. You don't wanna throw it on 40, 50 pounds. I don't even think I've ever even done this exercise at that weight before. So this is a lightweight exercise that's gonna help you put a lot of tension on your tricep. So some people like to put it all the way to the bottom. Me personally, putting it so that it's like parallel with my hand, I feel it more than it being on the bottom. I don't know why. I don't know if it's my setup or what, but basically you just wanna use this to make sure that you pull your hand all the way to the back of your body, that you're pulling your hand from the middle of your body to the top part of your body in a parallel position. So to do that, we wanna make sure that we use even better tempo than we did with the bench press, getting a good 3-second count going down, making sure we're pausing at the top. But we also wanna make sure that we're twisting in our wrists out to the side when we get to the top too. You'll see that during the set. Trying to make sure I get somewhere around like 10 to 15 reps when I'm doing the cables, especially when I'm isolating, coming from the heavier load where, you know, we might only get somewhere between 6 and 10 reps. I want to make sure I'm creating a lot of volume when I'm doing these cable exercises. And I don't want to cut the movement short. I want to make sure I'm getting the most out of each and every single rep, every single set that I'm doing. So I'm gonna take it up a little bit more just because that 15 was kind of easy. And then I'm just gonna run through 3-4 sets of this and then go on to the next exercise. All right, so once you got in like 3 or 4 sets isolating, I always like to take the level up on the cable and either use the triangular metal one or the rope, just depending on, you know, I like to use the rope a lot. So sometimes I just like to use this attachment just to switch it up. So I might use that one today or the rope, we'll see. All right, so here I'm just trying to make sure that I'm creating a lot of tension using both hands. So we can use a little bit heavier weight with this one, but I just want to make sure I'm not standing straight up and down, standing tall when I'm doing this. I want to make sure I got that slight lead forward, nice tall chest, and I'm making sure that I'm reaching all the way down to the bottom of my tricep, and I'm reaching all the way back up, full extension at the top without moving that elbow position up or down. So it's really important to keep the tension on your tricep throughout the entire set. So I really don't use a lot of dumbbell exercises for tricep. I used to do a lot of like the overhead presses with the dumbbell or the skull crushers. But like, you know, over time, it was just kind of like wearing down on my elbows. It's like, it's stuff I'll use like rarely if I'm feeling pretty good. But like just using the cables and the bench press and, you know, the body weight dips, which we're gonna do at the end, those really kind of help save my elbows while putting a really nice resistance on my tricep. So I try to stay away from kind of like the skull crushers and the kickbacks with the dumbbells. So I feel like it's a lot more beneficial using the cables, barbells, and body weight. It's been giving me some pretty good results so far. Maybe, you know, later down the line, I'll use a little bit more of the overhead with the dumbbell, and you can still do overhead with the cable, which I do use a lot. So I'm still getting the same types of movements in, you know, same thing with the one arm kickback with the tricep. You do that with the dumbbell, you can do that with the cable. So I'm still using those same types of exercises. I'm just deciding to use it with the cable instead of the dumbbell. All right, so we're gonna end it with some a body weight exercise. So you don't necessarily, you know, if you do 3 different exercises at the end of your push-pull day, shoulder day, chest day, whatever day it is, and especially if you're on a push-pull legs and you do that twice a week, you've probably done more than enough tricep for the week, especially because you're working it while you're doing shoulders and chest movements. But if you want a little extra, you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, we're gonna do some dips to end it off. So dips is the same thing with everything else. We want to make sure we got a good tempo. We're using a full range of motion. But for here, we want to put more emphasis on our tricep, just like we did with the bench press. We want to check where we changed our hand position. Here, we just want to make sure that our body position is more up and down than lean forward. That's going to help us put a little bit more tension on our tricep than our chest. We can just run through the sets like we would normally. That is it, guys, for triceps. Remember, if you want bigger arms, you want bigger looking, more developed triceps, make sure you add in these exercises with the cues that we talked about today. If you're looking for more videos like this in the future, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. Also, don't get out of here without hitting that subscribe button. See you next time.